This conference will now be recorded.
Right, let's start today's session. So in the last session, we were discuss about session management and how to work with session, how to get the session data, and how to give time period for the session, and how to check whether browser supports cookies or not. And also we have seen page count application using session. Okay, page count application using session. That is clearly available. Next, today I'm going to discuss two more important examples related to session, and after that we'll start with cookies. Just observe here. So by default, sessions will store in Django underscore session. So by default, session will store in database. Look at this Django underscore session table is there. If we edit this, you will be able to see this Django sessions here on. By default, sessions will store in Django underscore session database table. But there is a concept called file based session. What session? File based session. File based session means we can store the session details into file, separate file. That is called file based session. File based session, not in database table. In file based session, all session details will store into file only, not in Django session. But if you want to work with file based session, same what we discussed like previous application, session page count application is there, no? In same application only, no need to do any changes. Okay, directly we can run it. But only the thing is, in the page count application, so session details will store in file based. But if you want to work with file based session, first step what we need to do, we need to create a separate folder under Django project 6:30 a.m. project folder it is. Right click on it, go to new, a simple folder we need to create. Folder means directory. I'm creating here one simple folder directory just with the name what session, with the name session. Now you can see in this Django project right now session folder is there. From now onwards the session storage will be in this folder only. This is called file based session. But how your Django server knows that where files need to be stored? File or Django underscore session database table. By default, all Django sessions will store in database table only, Django underscore session table. But here I am storing the session details into separate file. That is session folder I created in the project. Here I need to store this session details. Okay. To do this, we have to go to settings.py file, project level settings. Now in this, slowly come down here. So here what I am trying to do, two things I am trying to do is, one is session engine. Session underscore engine is there. Session engine equals to, within the single quotes, django dot contrib dot sessions dot backend dot file. Session underscore engine equals to django dot contrib dot sessions dot backends dot file. Okay, this is one thing. Next session file path also we have to use. Session underscore file path equals to where do you want to save your session. Os dot path dot avoin join method. I'm calling base directory, and what is your folder name which we created just now? Session folder. These two lines of code is required when do you want to save your session data into separate file like here. So once we execute the current application, my current application is session page count only. Even in the session page count also, I just included session creation, and this session details will save into where? File based. File based means this is not in database, because already in settings.py, in settings.py means global file for your project. In settings.py, what included? Session underscore engine, django dot contrib dot sessions dot backends dot file, session underscore file underscore path, os dot path dot join base dir comma session. Let's go to terminal and start the server. And before that, just I'm taking virtual environment, I'm activating my env slash, and let's start the server directly. Python space manage.py run server. Now let's run this. We got the page count. When we refresh it, page count is 1, page count is 2, page count is 3. And now this time you can see session data is going to store where? Not in Django sessions. Look at this. We have same sessions only, not changing. But look at this, in this session folder, this is file based session. This is session ID. Yes. So this is about what type of session? Storage. File based session. Do you want to save your session details into separate file? Then we use file based session. Okay. Yes. Let's keep this settings into comment, because I don't want to go with file based session. Just in case if you want to go with file based session, then we can use like this is just I'm taking for file based session. For file based session, we'll go with this syntax, this one. Okay, fine. Next, another example I'm telling. It's very common example in real time also we are going to face this situation. What is that means? Session has expired. Okay, there is a concept called session expired session. Sometimes if you are trying to do any banking transaction, especially banking transaction, I'm speaking about that. While doing transaction, you will get some OTP to proceed your transaction successfully. You need to enter the OTP. Sometimes you will get the OTP in delay response. Okay, after long time waiting, you will get OTP. Then once you receive the OTP, when we attempt to enter the OTP into that text boxes or in the inputs form, okay, what will happen? You will immediately receive the message from the browser, session has expired. Okay, that means there is no long time for entering your OTP. You have to quickly enter the OTP because of security reasons. Yes, session has expired. That means they have set some time period for the session. Okay, within the time period, you have to input your details. If you are giving input some delay, then automatically the session will expire. Once session expired, then your request will not be processed at the moment for the server. Okay, so that type of example I'm telling you now. Just here, try to understand. So what I mean to say here, let's create a new application better. So for clarity, I'm creating new application for this quickly. Python space manage.py, start app, session expired app. It's my application name. Session expired. The example is session expired through only. So I'm taking session expired app here. So once you create application, then that we can include into project level installed apps. Session expired app I'm taking. Session expired app. Session expired app. Once session expired app is included, let's focus on session expired app only. This is my application. Let's go to views, and quickly I'm trying to create a view. But here you can see render including HTTP response also I'm taking. HTTP response, not a problem. Render HTTP response. Now coming to this here, def set underscore session current request. This code already you know that. I'm repeating same. Request dot session of, what is that? Session name is this name. Value is what? Just move on. Okay, render return render current request, comma set.html. I'm taking set.html. Next here def get and get session, get underscore session request. If session is what? Name. In request dot session, okay, I want to get the name of the session. Name equals to request dot session of name. Okay. Then finally return render current request get dot html. Here I have to send name colon name. Okay. Next, if request dot if name in request dot session, then we need to get the name equals to request dot session of name. Then I need to display return render request get dot html, then name equal to name. In case if requested session is not there, else block, I need to return HTTP response. What actually? Session has expired. Session has expired. How to display this one? Okay, session has expired. This is the example. I'm not going to delete the session at all. Okay, so automatically it will be deleted. And do you want to what we call the del session means? You can also use del session, but I'm not including in this example. Not required. Set and get is enough. Set means set.html. Let's go to template and set.html page I'm using. Here is set.html here. Session has set. Session is setting. Just I can say setting. Yeah. Next get.html page I need because I use it in this application get.html also. In this get.html I'm not going to use anything here. Okay. Or else you can give comment. This is Django template language comment. One section data is name. Fine. We have to set the URL for this. Okay. To set the URL, let's go for any application level URLs of my session applications. So we have this URL session app URLs I'm passing. Copy this and go to here session expired app. Paste it. So URL copy paste. This is session expired app. Now get session is not there, only set session and get session. So set and get is there, delete session is not there. This we have to include into project level URLs. Session page count, path I'm including. So include session expired app dot URLs. Yeah. So it's important to us. First, what I'm trying to do in the settings.py, I need to do It's very important because when it will expire by default 14 days, yeah, for this request. But in settings.py, what I'm trying to do, I want to go for session cookie age is 30 seconds. I'm going to use session cookie age. I'm going to use it 30 seconds, only 30 seconds. Okay, session cookie is 30 seconds. Now tell me, in this current example, when session will expire after 30 seconds. Look at this. Session will be expired after 30 seconds. Fine. 30 seconds after you will get session has expired message. Okay, fine. Let's run this. Python space manage.py and server. The importance notice is what you know. So just I'm trying to copy this and paste into Edge browser. In the Edge browser, I'm placing this. Okay. Now set. How long time it is going to be set? How long time it is there? 30 seconds. Let's go to say settings. Now you can see cookies and site permission, manage site cookies, to set GL cookies, and our cookies are there here. So session ID is there. Session ID, how much time is there? 30 seconds is there. So you can see 30 seconds. 6:51:06 it is going to expire. Before expiring, we can also get the session data. How to get the session data means like this. Now you can see we got session expired because 30 seconds over. Is this expired really? Yes, it's expired. There is no session. Got it. Again, what I'm trying to do, set it. Just observe here. So here, what is the problem? No matter whatever you're doing, here you can see session is set. 30 seconds time only there. Only 6:15:57. But generally in real time, it's not going to happen. Okay, before 30 seconds, you will get the data. Yes, we got the data. But the moment when user is going to be keep on doing activity in the web page, but session time should increase or not. Every activity or every refresh, then session time should be increased. That means more 30 seconds should come here. But in this case, what is happening? No matter whether you are doing transaction, you are in the active into web request and response in the transaction, but only you will have only how much time? 30 seconds. But that's not happen in real time. In real time, what will happen? As long as you are doing or you are trying to access your web page by sending request and getting response from the server, that means user still in active mode only in the process of web request and response. For every page refreshment, then session time should increment. But in this case, at this moment right now, what I am explaining, you are not doing any transactions, or if you are doing any transactions, but no matter, you have only 30 seconds. After 30 seconds it will expire. But this is not going to happen in real time, sir. Okay, in real time, what will happen? Every new request means every page request, the session time has to increment. So 30 more second, 30 more second, 30 more seconds, it has to increment. But here it is not increment. That is the problem actually. So to set this and to adjust this, what we need to do, change actually here. This is the important line. After setting the name here in this get session method. So here we have to write this line. This line is very important. Request dot session dot modified equal to what? True, we have to say that. What does it mean? The moment whenever we request the page, okay, that is called session modified. So each and every time requesting purpose, the session time need to be increased or not. 30 more seconds will increase. Now this time it's going to happen. So there is no chance uh, if user is keep on doing any transactions or is sending requests, there is no chance to get the message like session has expired. Okay, when you will get a chance to get expired, session expired means when you don't do any transactions or any operations, you are idle, for 30 seconds, then it will get expired, session expired message like that. Now this time you can see request dot session dot modified equal to true. I'm saying let's go to this, copy this and go to browser. Now I'm setting this request again. Now you can see set. Now here you can set, you can check out session time is, observed carefully, 6:55:04 a.m. it is going to expire. But now moment whenever I'm trying to do any, get is there, session is get. Again get is there, set is there, session is set. Like this, get is there, session is get. Like this, you can see get. So now this time is incrementing or not, you can observe here. Yes, it is incrementing, sir. Look at this, every 30 seconds, 6:55:28 is there. Again, when we try to get here, now if I refresh here, now you can see user is trying to do 6:55:39 is there. Previously 6:55:28:39. It's going to be increment the time or not. From there onwards, okay, once you cross 10 seconds, 10 seconds after still 20, still 30 minutes, 30 seconds are going to be increment. So there is no way to get the expired message 6:55:52 is there. It's keep on incrementing the time. When you will get expired message means when you don't do any transactions or any operations, like 30 seconds time, if you are waiting, then that time you will get a message called session has expired. But if your user is doing some transaction, he is trying to do any implementation like any request and response, then it should not say session has expired like that. So I'm waiting, just I'm not doing any transaction. So after 30 seconds waiting period, if I try to get this session, look at this, you will get session has expired now. This is correct. This is happening in real time. So usually when we do transactions while working with banking application, if you don't do any operations, your website is still in the login mode only, but you're not doing any transactions. All of a sudden, if you attempt to do the process, then you will get what, session expired, because your time is crossed. So this is about session expired example and complete session information in Django request and response. Next, I need to discuss about another state management technique in Django, that is called cache mechanism. So cache is very simple to implement and it's also important. Cache mechanism is there, cache memory. What is cache? By typing CACHE we have to type, but you have to pronounce it CASH. Okay, you have to pronounce it what, CASH, but by typing CACHE is there, CACHE. Got my point? CACHE is there. Yes. So what is cache? First of all, cache is server-side state management technique. Cache is a server-side state management technique. Yes, it is a server-side state management technique, sir. Cache is a server-side state management technique. Next, cache is a temporary memory. Temporary memory. Cache is the temporary memory for the client. For the client at server side. Cache is the temporary memory for the client at server side. Cache will improve the website performance, I said. How it will say, yes, just observe here. Cache will improve. Cache will improve the website performance. Yes, website performance. So how it will improve the website performance? So when we send request to the server, first of all, server will process client request. Okay. Normally, usually this is going to happen. When we send request to server, server will process client request and it will give the response to the client. After giving response, server will not maintain any information related to client. Yes, server will not maintain any information related to client. So every time when we send request to the server, server will process as a new request only. Our request will be treated as new request every time, so that we will get delay response from the server. So to avoid this, we have to use cache mechanism. As I said in the beginning session, introduction to state management techniques, I said clearly, examination result. I said examination result means for the first time when we want to get the examination result by entering hall ticket number, your request will be treated as a new request only, and you will get delay response for the first time. Next time whenever we re-enter your hall ticket number and get the response, immediately you will get response because that response already saved in the cache memory at server side. That response you are receiving, not server response, because already your result data is present temporarily in the cache memory. So users usually will get the response from cache from the next request onwards. Server will not take it as a new request from the next request onwards once your data or requested data is present in cache. So without making burden onto the server, so we will get quick response from the cache. So cache will improve the website performance only. So when we send request to the server, server will process client request and it will give the response to the client. After client getting response, server will not maintain any data related to client. So every time when we send request to the server, server will process a new request so that we will get delay response from the server. To avoid this, we use what mechanism? Cache mechanism. What is cache? It's a server side state management technique. What it will maintain? It will maintain the client requested data. Is this maintained permanently or temporarily? Temporarily only. Cache is the temporary memory for the client at server side. So cache will improve the website performance. Sir, how long time cache data will maintain? So default time period of cache is 5 minutes. If you don't set any time, default, the default time period of cache memory, the default time period of cache memory is default time period of cache is 5 minutes. 5 minutes, or we can say 300 seconds. Generally we use in seconds format only. That's what I'm saying. 300 seconds you have to say default time period. So when we send a request, whenever we send once the web page is having cache, for the first time only, server will process the client request and store the data related to the client in cache memory. How long time server will maintain the client requested data in cache memory? 5 minutes. So within the 5 minutes, how many times you are sending request again and again, the request will not process by the server. Rather than it will redirect your request to cache memory. You should go and collect the data from where? Cache memory. That is the main logic actually. So within the 5 minutes, how many times you want to get the data, you can send the request and get the data from cache memory. Your request will not be processed by server. Got my point? That is the thing. But after 5 minutes, automatically cache memory will be loose or not? Means it's delete. Again, when we send request after 5 minutes, your request will be processed, new request only. From there onwards, you have five more minutes time is there here. So this is the process exactly how it will work. So there are different types of cache mechanisms are there, sir. I'm trying to go with types of cache mechanism. Types of cache. Types of cache. All I'll explain. The type of cache is what you know. Per site cache. What cache? Per site cache. Means total website do you want to maintain the cache? Then we can use this technique. Option number one, per site cache. Next, per view cache is there. Per view cache. Per view cache means what you know? Only particular view through when we send request, I need cache memory. Remaining view through when I send request, I don't need cache memory. So you in your application, multiple views are there, no, like V1, V2, V3, and so on. But if you maintain per site cache, any view through if you are sending hello, can you hear me all of you, or else any problem with my screen? Because I noticed something. Okay, fine. So per site cache, per view cache. Per site cache means total website is maintaining the cache. That means from your project, which application through you are sending request, that will maintain the cache. But per view cache means in your application only particular view through when we send request. If you want to maintain the cache, then we can go for per view cache. And other views, no need to maintain the cache. Which view through do you want to maintain the cache data? That view through that we can apply for that view only cache memory. Next, Last option is there, template fragment cache is there. Template fragment cache means it is a HTML related template. So from template also, from template means HTML template. From template, uh, which part onwards do you want to maintain the cache? You can decide. HTML template means like web page. So we can divide web page into multiple parts. So from which part request do you want to maintain the cache? You can maintain the cache, and other parts of the template request need not to maintain the cache. So that also we can divide. So template fragment cache, or we can say this is partial page fragment cache also we can call it as partial page. Partial means not fully page, only half of the page or some part of the page. So these are the three types of cache. Okay, we'll discuss one by one. But where cache data will store, that is important. Where cache data will store? Yes, options to store the cache data. Yes, we have some options to store the cache data. Option number one, database caching is there, sir. What caching? Database caching. Option number two, database caching is there. Option number two, file system caching is there. Just now we discussed file based session, no? Same like this. File system caching. File system caching. Option number three, local memory caching. Local memory caching means your RAM memory will maintain the cache data. Okay. So in this cache, database caching means your cache details will store into database table. In file system cache means your cache details will store into separate file. Just now what we discussed, I created session folder. Our session details are stored into file. This is file based session. Same, we have to prepare one more folder like cache folder. There we can save our cache data. That is called file system caching. And local memory caching also we can do, that will store your cache details into RAM memory location. Okay, so that we cannot show, but these two we can show them. But let me show you today example. What I would like to explain, the per site cache only, with the database caching, with the file system caching, with the local memory caching. All three options I will tell you with per site cache. Okay, later we'll go for per view cache with the database caching only, template fragment cache with the database caching only. Cache memory we can store anywhere, option is yours, but I will tell you for example just all three options one cache. Remaining cache we can go with the database caching only. So right now I'm showing what's are actually example with per site cache with database caching. Means our cache details will store into database. But make sure that you are saying that database caching means cache details are stored into database means you need cache table. How to create cache table also I will tell you. Okay, yes. So first to work with per site cache, what we need to do, first let's create application. Okay, step by step you have to follow. Listen. So I'm creating my application, python space manage.py, start app, cache app I'm creating. What is the application name? Cache app. Once you created the application, just go to settings.py, include this application here under installed app. So I'm including that into installed app, cache app. That's it. Once cache app is included, but make sure that if you want to work with per site cache, immediately in settings.py, two changes need to be right. Two changes need to be required. Especially this is only for per site cache. What changes are required in settings.py? Look at this middleware concept, is there or not? Middleware. In this middleware, there is a built-in middleware is there, common middleware. Before common middleware, one middleware need to be included, that is cache related middleware. After common middleware, one more middleware need to be included. Order is important. That's what I'm saying clearly. Before middleware, common middleware, one path we have to set. After common middleware, one more path you have to set. Let's do this. So what is that requirement? Simple. Django dot. Okay. So middleware dot, or else let's go for Django dot middleware dot. Okay. So cache dot, now you can see update cache middleware. First one is what actually update cache middleware. IntelliSense, it will show you. This middleware is required to add before common middleware. Yes. After common middleware, one more middleware need to be required. Django dot middleware dot cache fetch from cache middleware. These two middlewares are required, sir. In between, common middleware should be there. The order is very important, I'm saying. So update cache middleware need to be included before common middleware. After common middleware, fetch from cache middleware need to be included, sir. Two middlewares are compulsory. Got my point? Yes. So this is only for while working with per site cache, not while working with per view cache and template fragment cache. Strictly remember. Okay. These two middlewares, it's only for working with per site cache only. Later, when we start working with purview cache and template fragment cache, these two middlewares must and should remove. Otherwise, you will not get expected result. Okay, that is important. Let's see this per site cache. Next option is what? So you are working with what? Per site cache with what caching? Database caching. Means your caching need to be stored. Cache details need to be stored in where? Database only. So for database caching or file system caching or local memory caching purpose, again we need to do one more settings. So where we have to do settings means come down in the settings.py file. So wherever you want, you can see this last star in the middle. Okay, here we can do some changes. What we have to do? Caches equals to, that is dictionary. Okay, dictionary is having key. What is actually default? This is dictionary is having key, that is default. One more, one key is there, that is default key. This key also is having one more dictionary, internal dictionary, inside dictionary only, default. In this dictionary key, one more key is there, backend colon. Inside the single code, what we have to do? Django dot core dot dash dot backends dot file based, sorry, backends dot db, yes, backends dot db dot database cache. So this database cache we are working, but where is your location of database? Yes, location colon. The location is what? Cache table. Cache table. Do you have any cache table? No. Later we have to create cache table. That cache table name by default what? Your application name underscore cache. Your application name is what? Cache app underscore what? Cache. This is the table name. So this table can have cache data here. Especially if you want to work with the database caching, you have to do settings clear. Caches equals to, this is one dictionary. Internally, one more dictionary is there. This is the key, and one more dictionary is the value. Again, in this dictionary, one key is there backend. This is the value. One more key is there location. This is the value. Backend means you are working with what? Django.core.cache.backends.db.database cache. This is one time setting. Next time, do you want to work with cache mechanism with file based? Here we have to use file. Okay, local memory. Here we have to use local. Cache app underscore cache. Cache app underscore cache. Okay, but one important thing is I'm telling the default time period of cache is what? 5 minutes, 300 seconds. But sir, I don't want to wait for 300 seconds. No, for showing updated result or server result. That's what I'm using. My cache time is here, cache middleware seconds equals to 30 seconds I'm giving. That's it. So that it will easy to show me. It will easy to show the results. Okay. Otherwise, if I don't give any time period for the cache, I need to wait for 5 minutes to show you the result updated, whether cache data is working or not. Okay. Says so. This is the settings, are all settings done. Now you can see per site cache purpose I'm using database caching only. To do with per site cache, in the settings.py middlewares we have to include, and in the settings.py caches uh, uh, dictionary we have to include, and how it will understand, like the Django server can recognize whether it is working with the database cache or not. So backend start db.database cache. What is your cache table? Cache app underscore cache only. But we have to create cache table, sir. How to create cache table also I will tell you. You must and should create cache table compulsory. So how to create cache table means python space manage.py create cache table, after that migrate. But after later I will do it, but let me go with view because I need to show you cache data, no? So yes, view I'm trying to do. Cache app, where it is there, this is cache app. Let's go to view section here, and I'm trying to create one simple view here. df v1 is there, request object. After that, and I'm trying to take here, you can see request object v1 request is there. Through this request, what I'm taking, just I need to return render current request, comma. So where you want to display the page, you can display that. For example, my cache.html page, or any page you can pick, not a problem. So my cache.html page is there. So let's try to create a templates folder. Templates, my cache.html. In this, what I'm trying to do, just a normal script I'm writing. Hello Hyderabad in H1 section. Okay. Hello Durga Soft is H1 section. Like this. Got my point? Yes. So this is my mycache.html template. So this template is rendering through what view? This view v1. V1 is sending the response mycache.html. But look at this. This application, your cache application, is having cache data. How long time cache data will store? 30 seconds. Where your cache details will be there? Cache table. Do you have any cache table? No. I have to create cache table or not? Yes. How to create cache table? Python space manage.py. That's without space. We have to say create cache table like this. Create cache table. Python space manage.py creates cache table. Once we create cache table, look at this cache table where it is created. Let's go to database and just refresh this main, and now you can see, you will be able to see this cache table name by default. What your application name is? What? Cache app underscore what? Cache. So same table name I have given location here or not? Yes. So right now right click on it and edit data. Now you can see there is no cache details are available. So we are working with what actually? Per site cache with database caching. Means your cache details will store the database only. Here it will come. So all the thing we need to run this view only. To run this view, what we need to do? URL we have to set. So let's set the URL for this cache app urls dot py. Dot py is not required. Now from django dot urls import from your application name is what? Cache app import views. URL patterns equals to path. I'm not setting any path. Views dot p1. That's it. And we have to inject this into project levels URL settings. Previous application is session expired cache. Next, what I'm taking, path include. Next, what I'm trying to do here, application name is cache app dot urls. Answer. This is what I'm explaining, per site cache with the database caching. Example with per site cache with the database cache. Later we'll go for example with the per site cache again, file system caching, local memory caching, like same. That is simple. Let's run the server. Now you can see, once I start server, you will get this response, and this response, it's coming only 30 seconds. Look at this. The moment when we go to concern template, I am removing this data here. Okay, save it. But when we go to browser, when we refresh, that updated result will come, not come. Because for the first time when we send request, this hello Hyderabad, hello Durgasoft, welcome to Hyderabad, welcome to Durgasoft is present in cache memory for 30 seconds. Below 30 seconds, when we go back and my cache.html, I am doing modification also. This modification details are not coming from server. Why? Because already your cache data is having this information. For how long? 30 seconds. Once you cross 30 seconds, modified details will come. Look at this. Modified data is coming. That means what? You this data also again it will be there in cache memory. How long time? 30 seconds. Again, when we try to modify in the template, same after modification details immediately you will get? No, immediately not. Why? Because hello Hyderabad, hello Durga Soft is already saved in cache memory 30 seconds. After crossing 30 seconds only, you will get updated details because your request is processed by server as a new request. Before 30 seconds, how long time you are pressing, how many times you are sending request, that is cache memory only working. So this is exactly cache data. This cache data where it is stored in the database caching. Database table is what has, this is database cache. Cache key, views, and all these things. Okay, this is completely cache data here. So how much time it is take? Only 5 minutes. It is 5 minutes time not, but 30 seconds only I have given because in settings.py cache memory 30 seconds only. So this is how temporary memory for the client at server side cache data. So this is example with per site cache using database caching. Next I'm showing example with per site cache what with file system caching. File system caching means your cache details will not save into database. Rather than it will save the details into where? File system. To save your cache details into file system, I recommend to create one new folder, that is directory with the name called what? Cache. And after creating this folder, we have to inform to settings because we are working with not database caching. You are working with what? Backends with the file based cache. So this changes required. That's it. That means what? From now onwards, your details will not store into cache table. It will store into where? File based cache. But what is the location of the file? This is the location of the file. Look at this. The location is very lengthy. How to go with the lengthy location means C drive users like this, because here this location we have to provide. To provide the location, simple technique I'll tell you. Go to the project location. Okay, your project is available in desktop. Okay, this is in the desktop users, sorry, C drive. Let's go back. C drive is there, users are there, Mohan user is there, desktop location, project is what? Django 630M, Django 630M. This is your project location. I am copying this path only. This is the technique to copy the path if it is lengthy path. And if that I'm copying that path and place into where? In Django settings.py. Your location is there. No, it's not a database caching now. We are working with file based caching. So file location you have to use, but you change immediately the backslash, sorry, the forward slash we have to use. Backslash will be there. We have to change forward slash. But the location is in Django 630M folder also. Project also what folder is there? Cache folder is there. This is the exactly location file based cache, not database caching now. From now onwards, when we start the server, now we can see 30 more seconds, your cache data will be there. Whether it is cache data is there or not, look at this here, cache file based cache data is stored here only. And within the 30 seconds, if you do any changes, suppose I'm trying to remove these two now, but will it give update results, sir? No. 30 seconds you have to wait to get the updated result. 30 seconds after only your request will be treated as new request and it will be give the new result, updated result 30 seconds after. Imagine that if my cache memory is 5 minutes, default I'm setting means I need to wait for show this example 5 minutes every time. So 30 seconds after we got updated result. So we are updating again. This updation immediately will not affect because already these two text labels will stored into cache memory. So this is working with cache memory. It's called file based cache. Same per site cache only, but file based cache it is. Example with per site cache with file system caching. Same example I'm showing what just modification. Example with per site cache with local memory caching. Local memory caching means what? It will store into RAM memory. We cannot store that, we cannot save that details into RAM memory. Just I can use the RAM memory location. To work with local memory caching, what settings need to be do? In the settings.py, here I used file based cache. No, here local memory cache. But local memory we cannot give the address, so path should be empty only. No path. Let's save the changes. Again, it is working with local memory cache. Cache will work, but RAM memory we cannot show that. Look at this. Hello Hyderabad Durga Sahib. If you do changes here, I'm trying to last one removing, but immediate updation you will not get. Last one also there. Last one updation, how it will come? After 30 seconds only you will get this. So this is total example of per site cache with the database caching, file system caching, local memory caching. In the next session, per view cache I will show, template fragment cache we will show. Even these two views also you can store. Storage area, it's your requirement. Where do you want to save cache data, that you can decide. Database caching means database table address you have to give. Local memory caching means local memory address you have to give. Or file system cache means file system caching you have to use. Here only you have to change one time. But make sure that this is only middlewares adding only for per site cache only. While working with per view cache, this middlewares you should remove that. Otherwise, if we keep this middlewares also, it will impact by default on per site cache only. You will not get expected result while working with even per view cache also. That is important. Tomorrow we'll cover these two. After that, we'll go to other concept.